Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good lunchtime, good breakfast, whatever it might be, wherever you are. Hello, and welcome to the second ever live stream on Mark Ellis Reviews. The first one, when was that? That was a couple of months ago, wasn't it? After the last event, I think, or before it, whatever it was. It was with Patrick Rambles and Alex Gear and Tech. But I thought I'd do this one on my own because it was a bit of a last minute decision to do this. And hands up, the reason I'm doing this is to stay awake. Because if I wasn't doing this, I have a feeling I'd miss the event completely tonight. Um, because what time is it now? It's 10 o'clock in the UK, and the event doesn't start for another 2 hours. 2 hours, which is midnight here, which isn't that late. I'm a night owl anyway, so I'm used to going to bed fairly late. But for me, 43-year-old me, it's a bit late. However, I'm fully aware we haven't got it as bad as some countries with this particular Apple event. Normally in the UK, they're 6 p.m. ish, 6, 7 o'clock, and that's obviously absolutely fine. So to have it at midnight is just a bit, yeah. When you've had a long day as well, like I have. But like I say, I'm moaning about it being midnight. I'd love to know. By the way, hello everyone. There's loads of people streaming in, which always amazes me. Thank you for joining me live. But I'd love to know firstly, where you are coming in from, if what viewing from, whatever. I nearly said calling in from, but this isn't a Zoom call. But I'd love to know where you're watching this from, and what time it is, and are you going to stay up and watch the event if it's an unsociable hour? I heard someone say, I can't think where they were in the world, but it's going to be 4 a.m. I think in the United Arab Emirates. Oh, this isn't good, is it? I'm already tired. 4 a.m. for those guys, so that's really, really late. So where are you? So right, Denmark, 11 o'clock, California. Well, yeah, you're all right, aren't you? You'll be absolutely fine. Who else? Where else? UK and staying up, good stuff. Ireland, same as me, pretty much. Well, it is the same as me. There's no time difference. Bolton, England, Illinois. I love this. The kind of variety of places that people watch these live streams from is just amazing. Scotland, Canada, where it's 3 o'clock at the moment, so you're fine. That'd be absolutely fine, Nick. Germany, and gonna sleep soon. So from the sounds of it, you've prioritized me over Apple, over Tim Cook. I'll take that. Thank you. That's terrible. Oh, of course, Kevin's here from Lakeland, Florida. Kevin is a regular on the Solar Club channel. I do live streams every Friday on Solar Club, but they're much smaller than this. So, but Kevin's always there. Reading, lots of people from the UK, which I'm really impressed with because it's 10 o'clock in the evening, guys, and you could be watching TV, you could be spending time with your loved ones, your family, your mates, or whatever, or just playing computer games, but you're watching me. I'll never understand this. I'm just a bloke from Northampton, and if you know where Northampton is in the UK, I can say that because I'm from there. Anyway, what I thought I'd do, guys, is I'm keeping an eye on all these questions, and I've got no one helping me with this. So if it's all a bit all over the place, then who cares? What I thought we could do though is just hang out for a bit before the event starts. Now the event doesn't start for 2 hours. I'd be amazed if you all hang around for 2 hours. Plus, I'll need to go and get ready and start watching it. But we'll do this for as long as we need to, really. I've got some stuff down here which I'll kind of unearth in a minute, and we'll talk about a few predictions, possibly. I'd love to know your predictions, but equally, hit me with questions. Just go for it. But I am still very interested in where people are watching this from. So, New York, what time is it in New York? Give me an idea of what time it is. I think you're 5 hours behind us, are you? Andrew's asking, let's put some of these questions on here. Are you streaming the event on here? I'm not, no. I thought about that, Andrew, and it's complicated. And I think the problem with streaming, doing a kind of live reaction to something, is that most of the time I'll just be sitting there silent watching it, and that's not very interesting because the way that I cover these events is that I sit there with my laptop, with one screen, obviously with the Apple event on, laptop on my lap, obviously, and just making copious notes about the event. So I'm totally locked into it, and while I'm making those notes, I'm thinking, what videos am I going to make, what blogs am I going to write? It wouldn't be very entertaining just watching me do that. So I did think about it, but I think I'll just watch it separately as always. Jan isn't staying up. Don't blame you at all. I don't blame you if you're not staying up. I mean, I think if the event, if wherever you live, the event is post midnight, you've got to be an absolute diehard Apple fan to stay up because you can just get up and watch it in the morning. It doesn't matter, does it? If you just wake up, a few hours later and just watch the recorded stream, who cares? You'll have missed out on literally nothing. Pre-orders, nah, doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. So I'm impressed if you're staying up. I really am. Market Harborough. I used to live near Market Harborough, Mitch Brown. Relatively near Market Harborough. I know it very well. 6:05 in New York. Is that right? 6:05? Okay. Again, that's Sam, that is a fairly sociable time for you. It's going to be about 8:00, 8 p.m., isn't it, for you? You can sit down, have a drink, and watch it without feeling too tired, hopefully. Where else? So many questions coming in. Right, I'm going to go through some of these questions in a minute. But there's two things I want to mention, and they're two fairly stupid errors that I made on my video last week. So I made, I don't, you may not have seen it, but if you have seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I made a very quick reaction video to the announcement of the event, and it was a very quick reaction video, guys. Sometimes we, as YouTubers, we do pull things out of our, you know what, and to do that, you have to cut corners occasionally, which tends to be some of the research. And I do try and start those videos by saying, this is going to be a bit rough and ready. It's a bit off the cuff. There probably will be errors. I don't think I said there'll be errors in this one, but there were. Anyway, the two things I want to address that I said in that video. The first thing is that I said it's weird that Apple is quoting their event time in Pacific time. They always do that. I have no idea why I said that at all. Utter rubbish. The second thing I said was, this is the really annoying one that I almost took the video down because of. Was that I suggested that Apple was behind on the 3-nanometer chip thing. My words were something like, other chip manufacturers are sailing off into the sunset. They're not. In fact, Apple might be one of the first to do it en masse. So I don't know why I said that. I genuinely have no idea why I said that. But a few people obviously noticed it and made a few comments. So I did put an apology and a kind of correction in the comment and left the video as it was, basically just for prosperity, I suppose, and views and clicks, all the rest of it. But I just wanted to address those two things. Apple is probably going to be one of the, if not the first, really, to mass produce 3-nanometer chips. And equally, they do quote their event times in Pacific time, Mark. What are you talking about? So the other thing with this event, guys, is that I have got no idea what they're going to do. I think the only surefire thing, really, is that they're going to replace this. And I can get one of my props up, so bear with me. Hopefully this is going to work. I haven't practiced this. You can see it. Good stuff. So this is the M1, the base level M1 24-inch iMac, which I bought when it came out, and it's 900 days old now, apparently, over 900 days old. It's a lovely machine, this. I did get some stick, actually, from a few people saying, oh, why have you left it on the floor? You obviously don't care about it, etc., etc. I try and make this very clear that I'm not a regular consumer. I have 80,000 Macs, not that many. I have a lot of Macs in this room, way too many. But it's my job to review them. So my use case for these Macs is a bit unusual. I do occasionally offload them. So sometimes my girlfriend, for instance, has my M1 MacBook Air. She's been loving that and using that. I've sold a couple as well. I've given one away to a guy in America as part of a competition. But sometimes I keep them. And the reason I've kept this one, even though I've not used it a huge amount, it's got a fair bit of use, to be fair, but not a massive, an embarrassing little amount of use or whatever. But the reason I've kind of held on to it is because I had this feeling that it might become a bit of a collector's item. This is honestly what I thought. I did wonder if Apple was going to do anything else with the iMac. It's so strange they've left it for so long. I thought this might become a classic, one of those kind of Apple products that has just kind of, been left to fester. Mainly because Apple have put so much effort into the Mac Mini, and the Mac Studio, and the whole Mac Studio plus Mac Studio plus the Studio Display thing as being a replacement for the big iMac. That seems to be their thing, the Mac Mini. And I was getting to the stage where I was just thinking, this is going to become a relic. I don't think that's the case. I think one of the things we are definitely going to see this evening / this afternoon, is an update to this. So this is the M1 version. It never had the M2 chip for some reason, but most people are suggesting that it's going to get the M3, and I agree with that. I think we are going to see an M3 version of this. Whether or not it's just the M3 base model, which I think is going to be the case, or M3 plus M3 Pro plus M3 Max. I don't know if they're going to put that into this one. I think I personally think. Let me know what you think in the chat. I personally think they're only going to put the M3 Pro and Max into a bigger version of this, a larger displayed version of this. But it's lovely. I'd love. Who's got one of these, by the way? Who in the chat? Let me know if you've got an M1 Mac iMac, because it is just a wonderful, wonderful computer. So I think that is the only thing I can think of today, really, that is nailed on as being announced by Apple today. The other thing is the MacBook Pro, which I can't show you because I'm using it. I'm 50-50 with this. I think if you ordered, I shouldn't laugh, but if you ordered an M2 version of the MacBook Pro earlier this year, because let's not forget, they only came out in January, which isn't that long ago in computer terms, or maybe it is. If you spec'd up, let's say, a 16-inch M2 Max MacBook Pro and spent $3,500 on it, you're going to be a bit cheesed off, aren't you, tonight? I think if Apple comes out with an M3 and it's much, much faster thanks to this 3-nanometer process and yada, yada, yada. But does Apple care about that? Probably not, unfortunately. This is the way it works. And but I'm 50-50 with this. But then equally, they're not just going to do an event on this, are they? They're not. They're just not going to no, it's not going to happen, is it? Let me break and have a look at some of these questions while I move all this stuff out of the way. Oh, wow. Welcome, everyone. There's so many people joining. It's overwhelming, as always. Lots of people trying to stay up. Someone in Spain who is a year. This isn't a good start. An hour ahead. UTC +1, so you're a fair bit ahead of us. ZA is in Bolton, staying up all night. Love the work you're doing. Thank you very much. Okay, let's look. Rushden. Sorry, I just noticed someone's from Rushden. So funny seeing, not because Rushden's a terrible place. I used to live near Rushden as well, in Northampton, so I'm very familiar with Rushden. Got some family there. Anyway, too much information. Let's have a look. Any questions? This made me laugh as well. So James says that 10,000 people waiting on Apple YouTube channel for the event. Someone, I can't remember who it was. I saw someone on Twitter the other day saying that this was about 3 or 4 days ago. There were 370 people waiting for, basically logged into that live stream, waiting for Apple to do something, which was a really strange thing to do. But 10,000 people now. It's still 2 hours away, just under. Yeah, Martin. So, are we getting an updated Mini? That's the one thing I don't think. Will we get? Well, that's another thing, isn't it? Because if they bring out an M3 version of this is where it gets really confusing with Apple. Because if they bring out an M3 version of this and then an M3, for argument's sake, M3 Pro and M3 Max MacBook Pro, that means then that as the Mac Studio as well. It means the Mac Studio and the Mac Mini are suddenly fairly vastly out of date, really, aren't they? Because unless they just put M3 into everything, unless that's what they're going to do, it's going to be scary fast everything. Maybe it's just the whole lot they're going to update. Why not? I suppose, really. I mean, again, it comes down to stock levels, doesn't it, and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know if anyone's been keeping track, because I've got other things to do. But I don't know if people have been keeping track of the stock levels of stuff. But if things have been dwindling a little bit, maybe they are going to update everything with the M3. I mean, that would be one hell of a sign off for this year, wouldn't it? If that's what they're going to do, who knows? An M3 Mac Mini, I mean, an M2 Pro Mac Mini at the minute is amazing. So an M3 one, wow. Right, let's get some more questions here. So lots of people hoping for an M3 Pro iMac. Someone spotted something. Have you started to wear the Apple Watch Ultra again? What about the Garmin? I have started to wear this again. The Garmin is over there, and it is going to be reviewed. That is the Garmin. Which one is it? The Epics. I keep forgetting all the names. Yeah, that is going to appear on the channel at some point. But I just fancied using the Ultra again, the Ultra 1, not the 2. Hi, will you be buying the 15-inch Air? I already have. I've got the base model version over there somewhere, which is still a great machine. No problems with it really. The base level M2 is still problematic occasionally. The whole lack of speed issue, which I know is very hotly contested and talked about, and I think everyone's bored of it now. But again, it's a worthy point of discussion really, because it's another indication that the M2 was probably a bit of a stopgap. Really, they couldn't do what they wanted with it. They want this 3 nanometer process, but yeah, regardless of that, I've got the 15-inch Air, and it's fantastic. Do you think there will be a new Pro Display XDR? Maybe. I can't get that excited about that because it's, 6 grand, isn't it? And it's just expensive. And I think the Pro Display, sorry, the Studio Display rather, is expensive in itself, but it's as far as I would ever go with a monitor. I could never bring myself to spend 6 grand. It's a very small market for that. It's still a market, obviously, but I don't think they'll make a big splash about that if they are. And what they're going to do with it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more they could do with it, to be honest. ProMotion, it hasn't got a high refresh rate display, has it? I don't think. Let's have a look. Is it true that there's no Apple Watch Ultra in 2024? I have no idea. That's the first thing I'd heard about that. Is that on the rumor mill? Is that something I've missed? I hope there is going to be one, and I hope they do a black version, because that's all I want, a black Apple Watch Ultra. Right. I would love a backlit Magic Keyboard, which brings me on to my next prop, which is this. I know it's not a keyboard, but it just made me think. This comment made me think of this really. So, what we probably won't see it on the event, because why would we? But I think quietly, Apple will retire the Lightning version of the Magic Mouse, which is a terrible mouse because you have to charge it upside down. Someone on Twitter, I don't know if some of you have probably seen this, mocked up a version of this with a hidden USB-C port, so it kind of opened like that, and there was a USB-C port on the top, which I thought was a great idea actually. But regardless, quieter updates today, I think, will be this and the Magic. The Magic Keyboard. The amount I've chucked this around, don't worry, it's broken already. And a Magic Keyboard with USB-C. I think that's going to be nailed on, really. Not very exciting, but if you want one, maybe you'll get one. Who knows? Because they're not backlit, are they? That's a really good point. They're not backlit. Maybe they'll do that. More people jumping on. Hello, guys. I need to have a quick drink of water. Where are we? Let's have a look. Yeah, see, Nick is saying everything is going USB-C. It is going to be, isn't it? But like you say, yeah, it will still be the stupid charging. It really will. It really will. You look strong, Mark. I don't feel strong. That's very kind of you. I'll take that as a positive. Louise does love the iMac colors. Bring on the colored Mac Minis. I mean, yeah, I wanted that. I was really looking forward to having some form of iMac colored Mac Mini earlier in the year. That never happened. I do wonder if they're going to refresh this, which I think they will. Will we get different colors? Maybe. Who knows? Apple does that. We might get a kind of seasonal color. Who knows? Whatever that would be. I'm not sure what that would be now. Lots and lots of questions. If I miss your question, guys, apologies. Like I say, it's only me doing this, so bear with me. M3. I'm saying that because sometimes on live streams, people have people managing comments and all that sort of stuff. That ain't happening today, trust me. Oh, by the way, guys, you may have noticed things look a little bit different here. So I have had a bit of a kind of move around in the studio. Let me just put this out of the way. Hang on. You probably long-term viewers will recognize this, and I won't move the camera, but the kind of the wall of stuff is there as well still. But I had to move everything around because I've got this new TV unit thing here. Cable keeps getting in the way. I've got this new kind of TV unit because I want to do more TV related stuff, including the Apple TV. So I've had to make room for that. So things do look a bit different. Hopefully it looks okay. Lots of work to do still, but getting there. I do like having a bit of a move around. I think it's important to do that in your working space. Martin, good old Martin. Hi, how you doing, Martin? If you think along those lines, there'll be no new stuff. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Martin. But yeah, you're probably right. I don't know why I brought that comment up for. I had no point of reference for that. What have we got here? Given that the MacBook Pro, M2 Pro, and Max were presented in January, and the previous gen only had like 5 months since being released, I think they could be releasing M3 Pro, M3 Max now. You're probably right. Yeah, I mean, January, in fairness, is quite a long time ago, isn't it? Selfishly, I hope they do, ironically, update the MacBook Pro, because I'm ready now, I think. In fact, I'm ready to go for the 14-inch version. I love that. This I'm running all of this live stream on the M1 Max, maxed out 16-inch MacBook Pro, and it's a wonderful machine. Someone has just given me a super thanks. Thank you so much. That's incredibly kind of you. I can never get over that. Thank you. Yeah, this is a wonderful laptop. And again, because I'm not a regular consumer, you have to take everything I say with a pinch of salt when it comes to getting new stuff, because if I wasn't doing this job, I would just carry on using this MacBook Pro for the next 2 or 3 years. There'd be no problem with it. But I have to get involved with the new stuff, and I do want to, as I've mentioned quite a few times on videos over the last few months, I want to reduce the size of my production machine, because as wonderful as this 16-inch MacBook Pro is, it's huge and it's just too big. So I'm ready to go 14-inch, and I'm very interested by this whole 3 nanometer thing for the M3, just to see what the gains are in terms of for me anyway, for video exporting, video rendering, audio stuff. I'm very keen to see how much of an improvement there is, particularly given that I'll be going from the big one down to the smaller one, because the bigger one has more cooling capabilities because it's a bigger chassis. So there is that to bear in mind, but that makes it quite an interesting comparison. So yeah, you're probably right, to be honest. I think we are going to see the Pro and Max. It just depends what machines they're going to put it into, doesn't it? That's the interesting thing. Here's an interesting one. Dr. Anne, wishing for new iPads. Okay, so I was very nearly late to this live stream because I can't find my iPad mini, which is really worrying. It's here somewhere, but anyway, I was going to have that as one of my props, but I haven't got that. But what I have got is 2 other iPads. So the weird 10th generation iPad, which I'll take out of here. Did anyone else buy this yellow one? If you're thinking about doing it, don't. It's nothing like the yellow that I thought it would be. It's this kind of mustardy, off yellow, horrible color. Anyway, 10th generation iPad, which is just an odd, really weird iPad, and let's open it up, M2 iPad Pro, which is the big one. You don't need to see it. It's the big iPad Pro, the latest one. Who do we think they're going to do anything iPad related? So Dr. Anne is waiting for iPads. I think a lot of people are, particularly the mini, and also possibly an updated Air and an 11th generation, if you can say that, version of this one. Maybe a new M2. Would you need a new iPad Pro? Probably not. But anyway, I don't think they're going to do this. I think iPads are for next year. I still think that. I made a video about this a couple of weeks ago, and I stand firm on what I said in that video, because as you could guess, as soon as I hit publish on that video, Apple announced they're doing an event. But I still think this is a Mac-only event. Well, largely a Mac-only event. I don't think they will spoil it in a way with any iPad announcements. I think they want the focus to be on the Mac for this one. So I still think, based on rumors and just intuition, if that helps at all, I think it's going to be March. I reckon I'm going to put my marker in the sand now and say March for an iPad event next year, where we'll definitely get the iPad mini, new iPad mini, and updated other iPads as well. So I don't think, Dr. Anne, you're going to be, I don't think you're going to have your wishes answered tonight, I'm afraid. Who knows? Maybe. Nick says, "Wait, are you? I am at the studio. Maybe it looks like I'm at home. This isn't my house. This is the studio. Turn on that coffee machine." Yeah, Nick is referring. If you're not aware, if you're not on my newsletter, if you're not on my newsletter, there's a link in the description. I haven't done a plug yet. I'll do a very quick plug now. You may not be aware, but for the last 3 and a bit years, every single week, I've been sending my newsletter subscribers, who are people who have very kindly given me their email address. Every single week, I send them a behind-the-scenes video, and it's one of my favorite videos that I make every week. It's all over the place always, and I've done it from all sorts of different locations, but it's just an insight into what goes on behind the scenes here. So if you want to check that out, just click the link below. It's free. You can unsubscribe if you don't like it. No hard feelings. But Nick's referring to the coffee machine that I mentioned recently in one of those newsletters, which is a Gadget Academia. I know this has nothing to do with Apple. I bet the numbers start dropping now, but if you like coffee, you'll find this interesting. It will feature on the channel relatively soon, but it's a Gadget Academia, and it's about 1,800 quid worth of coffee machine, which they've given me to check out. And obviously, I need to feature on the channel for that as well. And it's just the best thing ever. I'm the only person who works in this studio, and it's made for family, a very rich family of 7 people. But it's just an amazing thing. So that's what Nick's referring to. Way off topic there. But you'll have had enough about Apple fairly soon, so who cares? Let's have a look. Jeff with a G, which is still Jeff has been on the channel a few times and as in comments, and it's still my favorite username on YouTube. I think Jeff with a G, brilliant. That's just brilliant. I just love that username. Everything about that username is awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Fingers crossed for an M3 15-inch MacBook Air. This is another thing, isn't it? Are they going to put the M3 into everything? M3 all the things, as people say. Maybe. Again, if you've bought, I do feel sorry for anyone, including myself, who's bought an M2 version of anything recently, because it possibly sounds like it's going to get trounced today. Possibly. Maybe not. Who knows? Martin says iPad mini would be a nice surprise. I agree. Someone's calling in from Toaster. Everyone's calling in from Northampton. We've had Toaster, Rushden. Where was the other one? Market Harborough. Very interesting. Toaster. I do know Toaster very well, really well. It's where Silverstone is, funny enough. If you're into your F1, then you should know Toaster. Off on the topic again, off on a tangent. Okay, so what are your thoughts on a possible iMac Pro? Let me have another quick drink of water. I don't know why I keep saying water. It's obviously water, isn't it? What are your thoughts on a possible iMac Pro? No, I don't. I think I'm fairly firm on this. I think we're going to, like I say, the 24-inch iMac will get an update. I think the big one, the kind of rumored 32-inch version, I think that's going to be next year. I think we'll get this M3 version of that one today, and then I think probably a year from now we'll see the big one. And I think it will be Pro focused. I think you're right in saying that. I think it will be an iMac Pro, and it will be hideously expensive. I think if it is 32 inches. I think someone pointed out that if they do it like that, it's going to be basically a Pro Display XDR kind of with a computer in it. So you can imagine how expensive that's going to be when you start spec, even probably the base model version, but when you start specking that up, crikey. Stephen, Apple TV is not promoting the stream yet. No, it's not, is it? That is the Apple TV running those beautiful screensavers behind me. There's only one on there at the minute because it's only downloaded. I've only literally just plugged that in. It's only downloaded one of them, but I did check earlier because I wanted the scary fast thing on the TV, but it couldn't do it because it's not there. Niall is on. Niall is a member of the team here at Markerless Reviews, or Markerless Media, as the company's called now. Check me out, Markerless Media. Could this finally be the iPad update? See, Niall thinks it might be. I don't know, Niall. I just don't think. I just don't think it's going to be. Martin, so your dream Mac will be a Mac Studio with an M3 Pro chip. I think potentially you'll have your prayers answered, Martin. It's not going to be cheap, though, Martin, is it? I hope you've been saving your pennies. These iPad rumors keep coming up, don't they? iPad Mini 7 rumored to be released. Possibly. The other thing, I'm not moaning because I've got the best job in the world, but if they release a new iMac, a new MacBook Pro, a new Mac Mini, you know where I'm going with this, a new iPad 7, iPad Mini 7, and some other stuff, which I'll come on to in a minute. One, it's going to be a very expensive November for me, but two, how on earth am I going to fit all this stuff in? Niall, we've got, if that happens, it's going to be one hell of a few weeks, in the best possible way, obviously. This is interesting. Yeah, so you're a bit nervous because you were going to upgrade to the M2 Pro Mac Mini, which is a brilliant computer, by the way. But now I'm wondering if I need to hold off for a bit. The advice I always give with this is wait. Wait as in wait another hour and a half and find out what they do today. If no Mac Minis are announced, buy yourself the M2 Pro Mac Mini. Don't wait, because waiting on Apple, it's just not a good idea. It really is not a good idea at all, because they may never release another Mac Mini. And regardless, I'm looking at it now. The M2 Pro Mac Mini is absolutely fantastic. You won't buy it and think, "Oh, this isn't great." You'll buy it and think, "This is the best Mac I've ever had." So don't worry too. Just wait, like I say, a couple of hours. By then, you should know what's going on. But if nothing is announced with the Mac Mini today, buy that M2 Pro Mac Mini that you want, because you want it for a reason, and it will be amazing. Oh, this is interesting, George. You don't think there'll be any laptops? So again, I'm a bit on the fence with this, but yeah, George thinks he's very confident of this, that no laptops. Do you agree with George? Let me know. Rex, that is a lovely gesture. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's absolutely lovely of you. Brad, any shot of HomePod updates, Mark? 10% shot on update to the Mini. No, I don't think so. I wrote about this morning on the blog, actually. If you go to marketlessreviews.com, one of the latest blog posts on there is me musing about the potential release next year of a HomePod with a screen, which I love the idea of. A bit like the Echo Show, I think it's called. The Echo Show 10, is it? The one that Amazon has. I won't go into it now, but I love the idea of that. But I don't think that is going to be something they're going to do tonight. I think this will be a relatively short event. I think it'll be an hour. I hope it's an hour. But I do think it'll be about an hour. I think it'll be very bam, 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 here you go. But I think it's going to be mainly Mac focused, personally. I don't think we'll be getting anything like that. Stephen, why is YouTube on your TV not giving you the option to see the live chat? I don't know. That's a bit rubbish, isn't it, Stephen? I wish I knew. I wish I knew the answer to that. Get your phone out, or if you've got an iPad or laptop, and watch me on there instead. Right. Now, there are some rumours that we may see an updated, I've got to do it, haven't I? An updated pair of these, which I don't think it's going to happen. I'll be honest. I think this is next year. I did wonder if Apple had completely abandoned the AirPods Max. I don't think they have. And the reason I'm saying that is because I went to New York in June now, which feels like ages ago, which is a fairly long time ago. And until that visit to New York, I thought that very, very few people had bought these. Now, some people in the UK will know this. No one else will. I live in a place called Leamington Spa, which sounds very British. It is very British. The studio is in Warwick, which you might know, which has got a castle. Some people know about the castle because it's quite a big tourist attraction, but you'll never have heard of Leamington Spa unless you're in the UK. But I'm from Northampton as well, and in both of those places, you don't see anyone with AirPods Max anywhere. Maybe one person every 6 months, that's it. Then I went to New York, and everyone's got AirPods Max. Literally, you just walk down the street and just AirPods Max everywhere. When I saw that, I suddenly thought, okay. And then I've been spending quite a lot of time in London recently, and it's the same in London. Everyone's got AirPods Max because, of course, they have. So there is a market for this, and it's a very specific market, obviously. But for that reason, I do think we are going to see an updated version of these. I would be amazed if we see them tonight. Maybe I'll be eating my words later. I don't know. If we do see them, get rid of that. Get shot of that. Get shot of that. And well, that's it, really. There's nothing else to do apart from... That's it. That is literally it. Just get USB-C going on these. The battery's okay now. Even though you can, it would still be nice to be able to turn them off. But the battery life has definitely improved in terms of the standby time, big time. So, but I don't think we're going to see them. I don't think we are. I really don't. The other thing people have talked about potentially, in line with this, is an updated version of the AirPods Pro, but I don't see that happening personally. They've updated them with the USB-C port, and these were updated a year ago, were they? Was it early? Whenever it was. But I don't see them doing that today as well. Some very odd rumors about this event, but I think is ostensibly just a Mac event. So AirPods Max, I started trying to use that then. I need to get rid of this. Yeah, I don't think we can see AirPods Max. Sorry. Michael's Tech Talk is in the house, as the kids say. Last time I'll say that. Check out Michael's channel, guys. It's very, very good. Where's this one come from? I saw on YouTube that Apple may pair up with Nintendo. I missed this one. Who came up with this one? Thoughts? That's totally throwing me. Why would they pair it with Nintendo? Obviously for gaming, but I mean, when Nintendo have the gaming market sewn up really in terms of quick get up and play gaming. Okay, I used to be a gamer. You can probably tell I'm not a gamer anymore. Why would they pair it with? I don't know. I mean, where on earth has that one come from? I'm not dismissing it at all, but that is a brand new one on me. Maybe I need to be doing more research. I don't see that happening personally. I think unless Apple can acquire a business, they're unlikely to partner with them at that scale. I think that's what I think personally. Other opinions are definitely available. Anthony bought an M2 MacBook Pro in February to replace my M1 MacBook Air. My wife an M2 MacBook Air in May. It seems a bit soon to update it, but I'll be hanging onto these for a while. I mean, that's the spirit, Anthony. You've bought a very, very good computer there. It's yeah. Is it annoying that an M3 version comes out today? Not really, because who cares? You've spent your money, you've got your thing, it's working great. I think that's the best. That's the best way to view that, really. And Anthony is watching this from the Isle of Man. Fantastic. Let's have a look. What else have we got on here? So many questions, guys. Thank you for coming on. What's interesting with the chats when you're doing all this yourself, you just keep seeing sound bites of conversations. So do it, Nigel. I won't agree with that just in case. I don't know. It could mean anything, couldn't it? But I just found that. Do it, Nigel. Why not? Do it, Nigel. Go for it. Let's have a look. Here we go. Do you think they'll announce a rental/lease service with Apple One plus iPhone and Apple Care for X? You're there for months. Maybe Apple Card. I don't maybe, and they're doing more of this type of stuff, aren't they? Because Apple is effectively becoming a bank now, aren't they? That's their goal. I think that's not their goal, but it's one of the things they probably want to be doing. Maybe, possibly. Again, it's one of those things. It's not going to be announced, I don't think, today. That sounds like press release type stuff for me, but it's a possibility. It's an interesting idea. Andrew, please put the iMac back on the floor. I'm on pins. You're going to knock it off. It was always safe, Andrew. I promise. Always. I've never knocked anything off this desk unintentionally. Louise says you just want your Apple Watch to work. No battery life since normal release of Watch OS 10. Now on a boot loop and is unusable. Rubbish. Yeah. To be fair though, the Apple Watch Ultra which has just gone into low power mode because the battery's dying. Brilliant. That aside, is fine. It's been fine since Watch OS 10. I really enjoy Watch OS 10 actually. More and more people keep coming into the doors. Hi guys. Keep the questions coming. Keep going. Have I got any other props to show you? No, I've gone through all the props. They were all the props. Yeah. That's what I think about what might or might not happen. There's so many questions. Stephen, that is a very, very kind gesture. Thank you so much. I will answer your question as well. Ridiculously kind, Stephen. Thank you. Will we see any mention of Vision Pro? That's a good question. No, I don't think we will. I think they're going to save that until early next year, whenever the actual rollout happens. On that front, I will be doing something next year. I'm not sure what, because in the UK, we have no idea when Vision Pro is coming here. Literally no idea, because the line they came out with when they were announcing it earlier in the year was, I think it was early in the US. That was it. So we still don't know when that is in the US. It could be January, it could be February, it could be March. Who knows? But we definitely don't know when it's coming to the UK. So I haven't started planning it yet, obviously, because I need to know what's happening in the US with the release of Vision Pro. But what I'll be doing in some form or another is going to the US to either try one or buy one, or well, one of those two things. Probably buy one, and bring it back if I can, which should be doable, hopefully. But it's such a big. I mean, I've got lots of thoughts about Vision Pro. I do need convincing on a lot of it, but it's such a massive play by Apple. It's such a, in their words, kind of paradigm shift in terms of the way that we interact with technology, that I have to get in on it, and I want to experience it. So, but I don't think, coming back to your question, Stephen, I don't think we'll see it today. I don't think so. I think that would make the event too long. Anthony, please don't do those boring pastel colours like the iPads and the iPhone 15. I quite like those colours actually. I've always preferred the kind of regular iPhone colours compared to the Pro and Pro Max. That's just me. It's very subjective, that obviously, isn't it? iMac 30-inch M3 touchscreen. That's left field, isn't it? No, just no. We're not going to get a touchscreen Mac ever. I don't think. I just don't think it's going to happen. Going back to the Vision Pro thing, Apple's vision, literally, of computing is wearing something and interacting with a knocking my light over, interacting with a kind of digital space in front of your eyes. It's not touching screens going forward. The iPhone eventually will get taken over by whatever Vision Pro becomes. So I don't think we're ever going to see a touchscreen Mac. I think that kind of thing is dead in the water, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I quite like it, but no, I still don't think we're going to see a big iMac today, guys. Sorry. Nick says, "Bring on the gaming content." I used to be a gamer. I'm not these days. I kind of fell out of love with it. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, actually, in fairness. It's a good point, Nick. There's been a lot of talk about the gaming, the graphics capabilities of this M3 chip. Quite a few people seem to think that Apple are going to make a big play for gaming on this. I can't get excited about that, unfortunately. Maybe I'll have to. If it's going to be such a big part of this M3 chip, I'll have to do something with it. But but for those who are into gaming and love their Macs, it's wonderful news if that's what they do. Hi, Tim. You've had a MacBook Pro 13-inch Intel machine for 3 years plus. Should I make the upgrade? I'm totally stuck. Depends if you need to, Tim. I mean, if that machine at the minute is causing you problems, if it's slowing down, if it's just a bit sluggish, then yeah, definitely the upgrade is ridiculous. If you go from Intel to Apple M something, even just the M1, that's what this is. It's just it's unbelievably. So the leap is just massive. But only do it if you need to. Don't just do it because you think, "Oh, I want an M rather than an Intel." Because if that machine's still working, I saw someone today with, I saw two people today, funnily enough, in the same coffee shop, rocking old MacBook Airs. One was a MacBook Pro, one was a MacBook Air with a lit up Apple logo. I love that. I love seeing that, and they don't care. It works. So Tim, only do it if you need to. Oh, look who's in the building, Rob. So any 8 or 16 listeners who are tuned into this, this is Rob. This is the one and only Rob, co-host of the 8 or 16 podcast. Where's the someone referred to him as the other chap. Was it the nice chap or the other gentleman? I can't remember whatever it was. The good-looking one. That is Rob. That's definitely Rob. He's definitely got more hair than me. Lots of people want the M3 Pro iMac. This is an interesting one. Are we saying goodbye to the 13-inch MacBook Pro? I don't think so. Are we? So I'm just looking at my beer. Sorry. There's a beer glass here, a pint glass, and all this talk about Northampton and toaster and Rushden. You can't see it because it's been washed so many times, but this is a Northampton beer festival glass. It's all about Northampton today, which is really Northamptonshire. Anyone from Wellingborough or Kettering, as they call it? Way off topic. Alexandru, hopefully I've got your name right there. Are we saying goodbye to the... No, I don't think so. I think they sell a lot of those. I think those 13-inch MacBook Pros must sell by the bucket load, which is why it's still around, I think. So no, I think that's staying. Is that a good or bad thing? Doesn't affect me really. If people are buying it, fine. Stephen, M1 is still an amazing chip. It really is. It really is. If you've got an M1, don't feel disheartened by whatever happens today, let alone if you've got an M2. Jamie, we've covered the AirPods Max, and I don't think we're going to see them today. I think we will see an updated version, but next year. Oh, completely off topic. Should you get the Bose QC Ultra headphones or the regular QC45s for $180 at Costco for Black Friday? How much better are the Ultras? For $180, Will, I'd just get the QC45s because you're saving yourself so much money there. The QC Ultras are better in most ways. So they sound better, the noise cancelling's better, they've got better build quality, except better case, all that sort of stuff. But they're much more expensive. They're $430 or whatever it is. The QC45s are brilliant, and unless you really want to spend a lot of money on headphones, you're looking at the QC45s for a reason. That's a very good price. You won't be disappointed. But then you wouldn't be disappointed if you spent all that money on the QC Ultras. But that's a question for you, Will. Lots of people saying, will we see a new iPad Mini? Maybe we will. Maybe we will. I'd love to see a new iPad Mini. I'd be more excited to think about a new iPad Mini than a new iMac or depending what they do with the iPad Mini, obviously. But iPad mustard. It is mustard. That isn't yellow. I'm sorry. I was so disappointed when this turned up. It's a horrible, horrible colour. But, Nigel thinks new Mini, definitely. What else we got? Any more? So many questions, guys. This is a very important question, James. Will there be an Apple Cloth version 2? I hope so. I never got the Cloth version 1 ever. I thought about it. I still love what Unbox Therapy did with it, where he had this massive flight case wheeled into the studio. Huge thing. And then unboxed it like one of those dolls, and it was this tiny little thing with the with the cloth in it. Maybe we will. I mean, that will be the one more thing. Maybe just one more thing. Here's a new cloth. How much is the cloth? Isn't it about 20 quid or something, 30 quid or something ridiculous? Martin says, "Will maybe November event for iPads?" No, that's another thing. I think this is the last event from Apple of 2023. Done. I don't think we'll see anything. I hope anyway. I could do with a break. I don't think we'll see anything else. Here's a good question. Will we ever? That's life. Great username. Do we think we'll ever see the Apple Car? That's gone really quiet, hasn't it? Project Titan. I don't know. It's clearly been an absolute nightmare. Let's not beat around the bush. The number of people who have been fired and the team changes and this, that, and the other. And it's not easy, is it, Tim, doing this? I'm addressing Tim Cook, who's obviously watching this. We're definitely not going to see an Apple Car tonight. I'd love that if they wheeled that out. If it was all about the Apple, if Scary Fast referred to an Apple Car because it can do 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, that would be brilliant. Apple could just finish, and they've completed everything at that stage. That's not going to happen, obviously. So no, I do wonder with the Apple Car if we saw the glimpse of it, and the only glimpse of it really, with the new CarPlay stuff, the kind of the forthcoming CarPlay updates, which still aren't here. I am checking out a new Porsche soon, not to buy. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm checking out the new Porsche Cayenne. I've got it for a day fairly soon, and that has got it's got some new CarPlay stuff in it, but I don't quite know what. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is, but I don't think it's this new CarPlay thing. But I think that was pretty much what Apple are doing. I think that is possibly the start of a much, much longer road with automotive stuff. But we may never see the Apple Car, I'm afraid. Any other questions? iPad Mini trending on Twitter. Is it? Oh God, they're going to do an iPad Mini, aren't they? George, by the way, I believe this has to be a special event. I think there will be new hardware, perhaps all this new stuff, perhaps a 12-inch MacBook. It can't just be new chips on such a different type of event. It's a good point, George. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? That said, though, I don't know. I think here's another theory. I think because it's online only, from what I understand, there's no press invite. I don't get press invites from Apple, so I definitely don't know this for sure. But I'm fairly sure, keeping a very close eye on my industry, that I don't think there's been any press invites. There's not going to be like an on-site presence at Apple Park. This is completely pre-recorded. Press a button, it goes live, which to me suggests it very, very easily could be just putting new chips into existing products. I think for something like a 12-inch MacBook or a brand new product, I think it would be an event where they have press on site, which from a marketing and PR point of view would make sense. I think for that reason, I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. I still think it's a special event. I'd argue, George, that it is special with the M3 because I think it's a very big leap forward for them. But Yeah, Niall getting involved again. The M1 MacBook is still the M1 MacBook is still a great option start again. What time is it? 10 to 11. The M1 MacBook is still a great option for an editing laptop. Will this possible M3 mean no more M1? Sorry for butchering your question there, Neil. I think, yeah, if the M3, well, the M3 is going to come out today. The M1 is probably going to disappear, isn't it? I think the M2 is going to become the base, the very, very base model chip that you can buy. Some coffee machine discussions going on now in the chat. Fantastic. Jan says, good. Yes, my Gadget, it's not mine, but the Gadget Academia coffee machine is downstairs. It's very noisy, ridiculous. I mean, I did think for a very expensive, coffee machine, I thought it would be a bit quieter for some reason. It's not, and it's still quite messy. It's milk goes everywhere, and you're always having to wipe it down. But it's a lovely thing. If you like coffee, you just have to try and stop having too many coffees because you just press buttons and it appears. Lots of people saying AirPods Max. I've got to stay. How long have I got to stay awake for? Ages. And then I've got to get up early tomorrow to make a video. I don't know if I think I mentioned this on the newsletter. Again, a reason to subscribe. Here's a little story for you. So I had a video planned. Where are we? 30th. I had a video planned to go out tomorrow, 31st of October. And this video had been planned for about a month. And the reason it had been planned for a month is because it was a sponsored video. So with sponsored videos, you have to plan them in advance, get the approval from the sponsor, yada, 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 all that stuff. And I was preparing it, and the title of the video, the working title of the video, this was, like I say, 2 or 3 weeks ago, was Is the iMac Dead? Due to go live on the 31st of October. And then obviously about a week ago, I was sitting there minding my own business at home, scrolling through Twitter/X, whatever we call it these days, and just starting to notice quite a few people talking about new Mac event. I'm thinking, what's this? And then realized that there were rumors about Apple doing something with the Mac on the 31st of October. And obviously, it was going to be about the iMac, revitalizing the iMac. So I had to completely can that video, because imagine me imagine it. Thankfully, I hadn't shot it, but if I'd shot that video and scheduled it for the 31st, is the iMac dead after this event? Can you imagine? So it's been a bit of a, lots of kind of shuffling going on behind the scenes to change that video. But the point being, I do get there eventually. I've got to get up early and film a video about this event for that sponsor as well. So that's going to be interesting. Rob says the best thing about Gadget coffee machines is that iOS autocorrects it to haggis when you try and type it out. It's true. So if you've got most people on here will have an iPhone. Go onto your iPhone, type in Gadget, and it will autocorrect it to haggis. Although if you've got iOS 17, it does learn that you want Gadget rather than haggis, but that is very, very amusing. Calling in from Iceland. Oh, Tommy Duncan. This is really high on my list of places to go because it looks utterly beautiful. My girlfriend wants to go as well. We'd go together, obviously. This live stream is going to get weirder and weirder. The longer it goes on, the later it gets, just to warn you. I say weirder, I'm going to say strange things probably. Calling in from Iceland. Yeah, I really want to go. Really want to go. I do. You've probably noticed I'm doing a lot more filming in the field now. I'm doing stuff out and about, and I've been to New York, like I mentioned earlier, Berlin, Amsterdam, lots of places in the UK, the Lake District, which is gorgeous, Peak District, which is equally lovely, but Iceland feels like a great place, I think, to go and do some kind of video, doesn't it? I think I need to do it. Yeah, we'll see. It's water. I promise this is water. It might be gin by the time. No, it won't. Don't drink, kids. But have a drink. I've got to stop talking about drink. What else we got here? Do you think, changing topics, do you think the studio display, because of possible updates on displays in the rest of the lineup, is being updated, or is it too soon? That's a good question. So people have been asking about the on this live chat, I've been asking about the Pro Display XDR, which I don't think they're going to do anything with it, or if they do, who cares? I can't. What are they going to do with the Studio Display, apart from maybe give it ProMotion, perhaps? maybe make it brighter. It's very bright anyway, but maybe, possibly. I just don't know what the update would be, to be honest. I'm not going to try and pronounce your name, sorry, because I'll get it horribly wrong. But I don't think they're going to do that. Hope and Glory says you just want an iPad Mini Pro. Me too. ProMotion. What else do we want from it? Face ID, definitely. And this does still sound a bit strange. I understand. I appreciate. And some form of Magic Keyboard. One of these. This is the keyboard folio, obviously, but one of these for the iPad Mini does sound ridiculous. But you're not going to write War and Peace on it. But for blogging, for journaling, for doing email, whatever it is, it'd be amazing. But again, I don't think we're going to see it. I really don't. Alan, that's incredibly kind of you. Thank you very much. And you've got a question. Mark, I'm still running a 2009 Mac Pro. Brilliant. Keep running it. Keep running it, Alan. Don't do anything with it. Don't throw it away. Look at these specs. 2 times 3.400. Start again. 2 times 3.46 gigahertz, 96 gigabytes of RAM. That's quite a lot, isn't it, for that old Mac Pro? RX 580, 8 gigabytes of graphics power, amazing. 2.5 terabyte NVMe storage as your main machine. What will I replace it with? Don't ever replace it, Alan. If you're still, what are you doing with it? I'd love to know what you're doing with it. What would you replace it with? I mean, again, I don't. The sad fact for that Mac Pro is that if you replaced it with a base level M1 MacBook Air, it would be quicker probably, but we'll forget about that. I don't know. What would you replace it with? I suppose the obvious upgrade for you, Alan, would be not the Mac Pro, because the current Mac Pro is ridiculous. It's just a Mac Studio in a ridiculously big chassis. It would be the Mac Studio, I think, for you. And what an upgrade that would be. Wow. But thank you for your generosity, Alan. That's lovely of you. Lots of iPad talk. Yeah, so AAD says Resident Evil is now out on iOS, which, yeah, I was almost, regardless of what I was saying a moment ago about not being a gamer these days, I was almost tempted this morning, to install Resident Evil on my iPhone, just because I saw loads of tweets about it and I felt a little bit left out. But again, this comes back to the whole thing with the M3 potentially having a very big gaming focus. There may be maybe Apple have got two or three big titles to reveal, or one massive title to reveal tonight. Who knows? It'll be interesting, won't it? So many questions. Studio looks great on the live stream, says Josh. Thank you. I mean, I've mentioned this earlier that I've had a bit of a jig around in here, which will become apparent once you see the videos over the next few weeks. I'm liking this, actually. I do like this as a live stream thing. I might use this set for Solo Club live streams, which happen every Friday. Another plug. Every Friday on my other channel, Solo Club. Another plug if you haven't checked that out yet. Solo Club is a channel about content creation and behind the scenes stuff. Not for everyone, but you might find it interesting. But I've been live streaming on that every Friday, talking about this business. And I normally do it over there, but I quite like this now. It's a very temporary. You can't see it obviously, but this is a very temporary setup. But I'm glad it looks all right, Josh. That's reassuring. Matthew, Final Cut update. What do we need? It'd be nice to have some AI stuff, wouldn't it? And again, I feel a bit left out with Premiere. I don't feel left out with much to do with Premiere Pro, but I know Premiere Pro has a lot of AI stuff built into it. I think it does anyway. It seems to have things that Final Cut Pro doesn't. That would be nice. But again, I don't know. Maybe if this event is going to be really focused on these super fast Macs, maybe we need new versions of Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, etc., to take advantage of it. Maybe. Who knows? Louise says you hear about Leamington Spa all the time on the news. Really? What do you hear about Leamington Spa? Nothing happens here ever. I don't think anything has ever happened in Leamington Spa. It's a lovely place. If you ever come to the UK, just check it out. It's relatively interesting, and it has a proper spa as well, which is a little tap basically with water coming out of it. Not selling it, am I? But yeah, what do you hear about that on the news? Interesting. Lots of chat about castles. Lossless audio, says EJR. No, I don't think so, unfortunately, EJR. I think that's gonna be next year when we get new AirPods Max. That's the other thing. I think with AirPods Max, there's gonna be the next version of them, is gonna have proper lossless support, I would guess. Yeah, lots of people saying all Lightning devices being updated to USB-C, which is, as someone has pointed out, EU regulations. Apple is being pushed by that. People still have hope for the iPad Mini. Jan says wishful thinking by a lot of folk. There is a lot of wishful thinking going on here, but I like that. I think we have to be wishful because we want Apple to do interesting stuff, and we do, don't we? I think, has it been a good year for Apple? I always forget what they've done because I review so much stuff, and it's not just Apple. I do forget what's been happening, and has it been a good year for Apple? I think it's been a bit of a tumultuous year, really, because they'd say it's been a fantastic year because they announced Vision Pro. I don't really agree with that. That's just something for the future. But I think in terms of current products and stuff, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is an amazing device. One of the highlights. Apart from that, I don't know. It's not been the M2 has been an issue. It's not been great. Apart from the M2 Pro and M2 Max, the base model M2 has been a problematic PR issue for Apple all year. I think really. And maybe that's why the M3 is going to go in everything. They just want to get a shot of the M2. Maybe. I don't know. If only any of us knew this stuff. We don't, do we? And I'll tell you what's becoming more and more obvious, I think, is I'm not doing these guys down because they have a job just like mine. They create content. But the rumor people, you know who I'm referring to, I think it's utterly clear they haven't got a clue what's going on these days. One person in particular who used to be very good with his predictions, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I won't call him out; it's not fair. Not just him, actually, several people. Let's keep it fairly broad. I just don't think any of them know what's going on, and I think Apple is playing games with them. I really do. I think it's the rumors. I keep a very close eye on rumors for the news and for my own content, and I quote them quite a lot. And the more you quote them, the more you realise they go backwards and forwards and up and down and left and right. Start and A together. That's a nice little gaming quote for you if you're of a certain age. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think they know at all. David, that is such a lovely gesture. Thank you very much. H2 5 gigahertz in new MacBook Pro. H2. What's H2? Is that the chip? Early intro to lossless. What's the H2? David, maybe I should just go to bed. I'm not sure. Not sure what you're referring to there. How does that link to lossless? You're probably right. You know more than me, David. But thank you for your gesture. I did say this would get a bit weird as we get older. We are getting older. We're all getting older, aren't we? What time is it now? So it's 11. Okay, we've got 58 minutes now until the Apple event, guys. 58 minutes. We're still going. There's still 244 people watching this, which is just nuts. Why are you all still here? Are we going to hold on? I mean, I can't hold on till exactly midnight because I do need to get ready, get my notes and stuff ready. But I'll carry on going until it's we've run out of questions. Someone calling in. Someone watching from Africa. Amazing. Matthew says pre-recorded or live event. From what we understand, it's a pre-recorded event. I mean, they haven't completely confirmed this. I think it's just fairly obvious that they haven't invited press. From what we can understand, I think it's just. But basically, all the regular people that go to these events don't seem to be going to Cupertino. They're at home or doing other things. So I think it's purely pre-recorded. Joining from Milton Keynes, again, very, very kind of close to my heart-ish, having being a Northampton boy. Final Cut 11, people want Final Cut. And someone else in Milton Keynes. It was FPT, okay, Front Page Tech, that mentioned that the Nintendo Apple partnership. Interesting. Well, those guys know what they're talking about sometimes. Lots of talk about a 12-inch MacBook. That's been bubbling under for a while now, hasn't it? That they're going to go because I'm sure most people are aware of this. They used to have a 12-inch MacBook, which was just called the MacBook. I used one once. I never owned one, but I had a play with one once, and I quite liked it actually. I mean, it was massively flawed in terms of, I think battery life was pretty terrible, and it had a terrible Intel chip. I can't think what it was, but it was a rubbish Intel chip. Was it the M series chips, whatever they were? Ironically, but yeah, there isn't talk now that now we're in the world of Apple Silicon and with the cooling is less of an issue. There is talk about them going back to that form factor. I just think if they do that, it confuses the lineup because where do you go? How do you choose between the MacBook Air and a 12-inch MacBook nothing? I don't know. From a buying guidance point of view, that starts to get a bit complicated, I think. Paul says, if there's no iPad Mini 7 now, when do you think they next might? And would it be best to wait until then? I don't think we'll see one today, personally. Again, I'm going to put my stake in the ground and say that. And if we don't see one today, I think we'll see one by March next year. And if we don't see one by March next year, it gets a bit dicey, doesn't it? Because the current one is way too old at that point. So depends if you need one. I mean, if we get to March next year and there's no new iPad Mini, maybe they've given up on it. Who knows? I'd just buy one if that's the case. Get the current one because it's still a fantastic iPad Mini. Anthony, did you enjoy Can Jam London, Mark? You should have done a video on it. I did enjoy it. It was a bit more. So Can Jam, for those who aren't aware, Can Jam is a headphone festival type exhibition thing in London and throughout the world actually. But it came to London earlier this year in the summer, and I went. I did think it would be a bit more consumery than it was. It was very audiophile, and I'm not an audiophile, but I did find it very interesting. Met a couple of people there who watched the channel, which was lovely. I did do a video on it, but it wasn't a long form YouTube video. It was a short, and it was on TikTok and Instagram as well. It did very well actually, but it was just a very quick kind of overview of that thing. But yeah, it was great. It was interesting. Very interesting thing to go to. My wallet says I can't. My wallet is going to say the same thing, I think, after today. I will be selling some Macs if anyone's interested. I think if there's a new iMac, new MacBook Pro, both of those machines will be put on the market if anyone's interested. And I do still have a 13-inch M2 the black, the dark blue M2 MacBook Air somewhere in here down there, which needs to be sold as well. So there will be some Macs, some Marcos reviews memorabilia will be going up for auction at some point. I think after tonight. Robert Lindsay says, "Is the event at 11:59?" I really hope it's not on now. This has happened to me before, where Apple, it was like an hour before I thought it would be. I just hope Apple is aware of the time zone change, the summer time change thing, which I'm sure they are. No, it is. That is when it is. I could try it, couldn't I? Should we see if it live streams? Well, it won't be on, but let's just make sure we haven't missed it. Let's see what happens. I've never watched, funny enough, an Apple event on the Apple TV. But I know that if you go, I think earlier, here we go. So it says, you probably can't see it, but it says, can I show you that? No, I can't. It says Apple event. No, it's still not there. It's still not there, guys. Sorry. Shame. Even if it was, what would we do? It's a good thing it's not on now, isn't it? Because we'd have to stop. What else have we got? So many questions, guys. Unbelievable. Who's going to buy it? Out of interest, who wants to buy a 24-inch iMac if they update it? I'm fascinated. And also, what are you going to do with it? What's your plans with that machine? I'm quite far behind on the questions, guys. I'm getting there. So much going on. Guys, I'm sorry if I've missed your question. I'm genuinely kind of a bit bowled over by how many questions there are. This is a brilliant one, though. Hi, Alan. Alan's a regular on the Solar Club YouTube streams. What time is your Deliveroo arriving? Honestly, nip downstairs and the beer will still be waiting here. There is a beer in the fridge, actually, but I'm not going to do it because if I have a beer, then I'll just want to go to bed at some point. I can't. I've got to stay awake. I'll be having coffee. Deliveroo. I've eaten already. I had a McDonald's earlier. If you're interested, I had a Big Mac meal and some chicken selects and a chocolate milkshake, and it was very nice. I've also got some M&S If you're in the UK, you know what that is. Some M&S snacks downstairs. These lovely, they do these buckets of chocolate things, which are about 1 billion calories each, and they're amazing. I thought I'll just get 2 tubs of them, coffee, and hopefully I'll stay awake. That's the plan. This is working. I feel energized, guys. I might crash at the end of it, but I do feel energized. So you're all helping. Thank you. Loads of people talking about the iPad Mini 7. Loads of people. Someone wants to wipe their head with the Apple cloth. Whatever floats your boat. Imagine if they announced the car today. Yeah, well, that would be funny. That would be brilliant. What trolling that would be from Apple if they did that. Absolutely, it'd be brilliant if they did that. The whole, scary fast thing. Again, quite a few people in the chat here saying they'd be more excited about a new iPad than a Mac. That's interesting, isn't it? This is the big question. Why an evening event? I don't know. I mean, it might just be as simple as it's Halloween, having a play on the whole Halloween thing tomorrow, and maybe that's what it is. It's just no particular reason. It's just an interesting time, a different time to do it. And also, coming from a marketing background, and Apple being one of the best marketing businesses on the planet, it's brilliant marketing. It's brilliant PR, because all we've talked about really is the time of the event, which means all this talk happens about it. Everyone starts, why are they doing it at this time? Why is it not at the normal time? Why this? Why that? Why the other? It creates this massive swell of interest and kind of discussion about it, and it's brilliant marketing. That's probably all it is. They're probably watching us now, not this literally, but they're probably watching from the sidelines, laughing, like they do with those event invites, which people try and spend hours poring over, thinking, why does the Apple logo have a little bit cut out of it there? And can I see it? Is it a reflection of a new iPad in the back? No, none of that. It's just they're just having fun. It's just an Apple logo which looks nice and does some cool, funky things, and they're all laughing at us at Apple. And why shouldn't they? Interesting. Daddy's YouTube says John Lewis is showing for the John Lewis is showing. So John Lewis is a shop in the UK, a big brand in the UK that sells stuff, including Apple stuff. You need to know that. John Lewis is showing for the iPad Air 15-inch that it's available for pre-order. So my guess is the inventory is showing that a new product is imminent. Interesting. Maybe. The more I think about this, the more I think we're going to get M3 everything. I think that's what they're going to do. Oh, hang on. What's this? Tech West is saying they absolutely did invite people to New York. So, okay. So are there press in New York now? Is that what's happening? Have I missed? Why wasn't I invited to New York? Why am I not in New York right now, if that's the case? Oh, here we go. Justine said she was invited to New York City for some media. Okay, well, that might be a press briefing, which is a bit different. So press briefing is when they get people in behind the scenes and say, look, here are the Macs. Firstly, here's a ridiculously big NDA. Sign this. Great. Now here's the Macs. Here's what you can say about it. Here's what you can't say about it. Here's when you get a review units. Yada yada yada. Here's the embargo date for reviews. Blah blah blah. That's a bit different to inviting people to Apple Park and doing a big splash about it, having a stage where Tim Cook comes out and talks and does all that stuff. They're big events. This one is still a big event, but it's not that big, I don't think. So yeah, okay, they're still doing stuff with press, just not me. Justine, of course she got an invite. She gets an invite to all this stuff. So many questions. What I'm trying to pick out, it's very hard at this. Some very interesting comments as well, as always. Marine X, that's incredibly kind of you. And I know you've been following the channel for a long, long time, because I know your username. I think you've got your own channel. If you have, please promote it. I've got no problem with people doing that in the chat. But that's incredibly kind of you. Thank you. Here's Apple's chance to differentiate the 13-inch Pro and the MacBook Air. Interesting. With it having a fan, it can actually show why it's more powerful than the MacBook Air with an M3, and you get the touch bar. Yeah, I think the touch bar's staying for a while, isn't it, on that machine? No, not the touch bar. Sorry, what am I talking about? Oh, hang on. No, ignore me. Again, this is worrying that I'm getting this tired now. I know exactly what you're saying, and yeah, I don't think that 13-inch Pro is going anywhere. I really don't. But thank you again, Marine X, for your generosity. That's very lovely of you. God, so many things. Lots of very generous. You're all lovely, and the people who have given me money are even more lovely. Thank you, Tony. What's better value, iPhone 15 Plus or iPhone 15 Pro Max? Ooh, how much is the iPhone 15 Plus? That's a very good question. They're very differently priced phones, aren't they? I think value's a very difficult one with this because the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a very expensive phone. But, and as I mentioned in my latest video on it, it has that 15x, 15x, 5x, 15x, 5x zoom, which is game changing. It's brilliant. Such an inspired choice by Apple. So I think if you're if you're a smartphone photographer who really cares about what the images that you get out of your phone, I think it's better value. The iPhone 15 Plus just gives you a bigger display over the base model 15, doesn't it? So it's a big difference. It's a big jump in price, Tony. That's what I'd say. But thank you again for your generosity. That's lovely of you. Australia. Josh is it from Australia? So Josh, no idea what time it's for you. Is it late or early? I have no idea. I can't even begin to work that out. But yeah, that's an interesting time zone for this. Oh, you think it's going to be a disappointment? I hope not. That'd be rubbish, wouldn't it? If this is, I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it will be maybe it will just be an M3 24-inch iMac. Thank you very much. Good night. Maybe it will be that. That would be a disappointment. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think so. Some different questions here. Your job profession before YouTube. Had lots of different things. I suppose, two main things that I've done. I spent 16 years at the same business where I worked up from the age of 21 to 35-ish. Worked my way up from being a support operative. This was a company, a very small software company that made software for hotels in the UK. Worked my way up from support staff to being a member of the board, the marketing director, sales and marketing director, and left that in 2015 and started my own little freelancing thing, which kind of turned into like a very tiny little marketing agency, mainly with me and a couple of people helping me. Did everything in that from writing to video production, videography, podcast production, and then came into this world and and eventually turned off that old business and went fully into YouTube. I've also got a very long history in music. So my dad was a professional musician. He retired a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago. But I worked with him for many, many, many years as a side thing in sound and lighting. And I've always had my own little studio at home as well. I've been a bedroom music producer, wannabe Calvin Harris. And so, yeah, all that stuff kind of came together to help me do this, really. And again, it's that Steve Jobs quote, you can't join the dot. What does he say? You can't join the dots looking forward, but you can join them up looking backwards. He said it much more eloquently than that. But the point being, you do all this stuff through your life, and then one day you find something that seems to get all those things and those experiences and stuff that you did and brings it together. And that's what's happened. Weirdly, I could never have planned it. Thanks for asking that question. It's a nice thing to talk about other than Apple. So what, Andrew, what am I looking forward to from this event? So selfishly, a new MacBook Pro. I want a new MacBook Pro, but that's not great. That's not the be all and end all, really. What am I looking forward to? I'm just looking forward to. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to, Andrew. I'm looking forward to an Apple event where I've got literally no idea beyond the 24-inch iMac what they're going to do, how they're going to play it, what we're going to end up with at the end of the event. I'm just looking forward to that, even though I'm starting to feel tired and it's going to be a late one. Yeah, I'm looking forward just to it being an Apple event that I've got no idea what's going to happen. Someone's calling in. Someone's watching from the Philippines. Wow, beautiful. It's almost 7 a.m. That's nice. Well, you've had a nice night's sleep, hopefully. So yeah, what we're talking is it's going to be what 8 o'clock for you, is it? I'm guessing. No, whatever, 8ish in the morning. It's a nice time, isn't it? Grab your coffee or whatever. Yeah, put your feet up and watch Tim Cook introduce the event. Nice. This is a good question. What do you think the entry level RAM will be for the M3? I think it will still be 8 gig. I think it will. I don't. I think that's their base level for the foreseeable future, and it's still a great base level. I know lots of people have many opinions on this, but I still use base model M1 and M2 machines in this business, and they're great. Center stage on the new iMac. Hasn't this one got a center stage? Maybe it hasn't. I don't know. Possibly. There's been no mention. This is true. There's been no mention of killing off the 27-inch iMac. There hasn't. They've never publicly said that's it. They did kill off the iMac Pro. That was discontinued. The 27-inch iMac, though, it kind of just disappeared, didn't it? Or did they? I can't remember. But they've never said we're not going to make a big iMac again. I guess that's your point. And I tend to agree. More people talking about AirPods Max. I don't know. Will this end up being a trick or treat? That's a great one. A treat, hopefully. But we'll see. Martin says, are Apple avoiding folding phones or waiting in the wings with the killer version? The more and more I think about this, Martin, the more I think they're not going to do a foldable phone. I think the whole crease thing, the price of them, even though Apple is a premium product, premium brand, I just think it's not good enough for Apple. I don't think that they'll do it. I did, again, write about this a few days ago about a foldable iPad. That is apparently in development and quite seriously in development. So I think, given, again, that I think with the iPhone, I think Apple is just keen to let this thing develop, but develop very slowly, iteratively. Keep it safe, keep it the best smartphone you can buy, really, and just keep iterating it gently until Vision Pro turns into something that can replace the iPhone. I think that's what they're going to do, and because of that, I don't think they'll do anything wacky with it, which a folding phone to Apple would be seen as wacky. I think for the iPad, it's different. I think I think people are talking about a 20-inch display folded. You can imagine almost having that big kind of foldable iPad with a decent haptic keyboard. That's interesting. That's not really wacky as far as Apple is concerned. And maybe the crease thing at that point will have gone and not be a thing. But I don't think we're going to see a foldable iPhone, personally. That's my opinion. Other opinions are available. Nick says caffeine is your friend. It is definitely going to be my friend. Caffeine and some sugar. Jamaica. Wow. What time is it in Jamaica? I'd love to know what time it is in Jamaica. Would it be late or early? I have no idea. Tell me what time it is in Jamaica. Amazing. The places people are coming in from here. It's just incredible. That's what I love about going live. Should I do more of these live streams? I do enjoy them. I do love them. I just think there has to be a point, obviously. I think the events is a good way to do these. But I do enjoy doing them. We do seem to get a lot of people coming in, and that number hasn't changed for ages. No one's left. Well, people have left, obviously, but it seems to be maintaining quite a steady number, which I'm amazed by. Richard, I've never heard of you, but YouTube auto played me into your live stream. Cheers, YouTube. Thank you. And welcome on board, Richard. Subscribe button's just down there. You might like it. I do. It's not all live streams, and I do make sense. I'm more coherent, hopefully. Really hope in edited videos. But welcome on board. That's nice to know that you got recommended, or did you just pipe me in? Amazing. People talking about Final Cut Pro and Logic being updated. Maybe that's interesting. That would be very interesting for me, obviously. Okay, oh God, so many questions, guys. I'm trying to pick out as many as I can. While I've still got some brain power left. Lovely. That's a lovely thing to say, James. Thank you very much. He loves my content. Well, this is an interesting question. Your last over-ear headphone review included a lot of EQ to be perfect. What happened to I listen to headphones the way the manufacturer wants? This is a really good question, James. It's something which I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I can't think which pair of headphones it was. There was something I reviewed. It's probably review a lot of things. I've reviewed a lot of headphones this year and earbuds, so forgive me for not remembering which ones it was. Can't think of off the top. Anyway, there was a pair of earbuds I think that I was reviewing, and I was disappointed by them initially. I thought, hang on, that's not right. These can't be rubbish. I wish I could remember what they were, and EQ'd them, and they came alive. I just suddenly thought, I need to do this more. So I'm still very keen to tell you what these things sound like out of the box. I think that's very important because not everyone will go and try the EQ and test things out. But then conversely, the people who don't check out the EQ settings probably don't. I'm not being disparaging about those people at all because they probably don't listen quite as analytically as some of us. So it doesn't really matter to them, to be honest. But I still have a very keen interest in what manufacturers think their headphones should sound like. And I do think it's an important thing to mention. So the recent the Bose review, and I think what else? The Jabra review that went live this weekend. I mentioned that those headphones out of the box weren't particularly to my liking in terms of the sound signature. Weren't terrible. It just wasn't quite right. And I tried to explain why that was the case, which will hopefully help people who are buying those headphones because they might hear that and think, well, I like a pronounced mid range or whatever. But yeah, again, James, you have to evolve in this game, and I'm hopefully I'm as honest as I can be with this stuff because it's I make mistakes. I think it's important to own up to your mistakes, and equally be honest when you make changes to the way that you review things and the reasons that you make those changes. You have to evolve as a reviewer. So, but thanks, James. That's a lovely comment. Thank you very much. James, I read that as James Milner. If you're from the UK and if you follow football, you'll know who James Milner is. It's not James Milner, it's James Miller. Thank you, James, for coming in. Mark, a rumor flying around we may see a pink iMac and Barbie herself, and maybe Ken too will be a skit. Oh, not another skit. After that Mother Nature thing. I didn't mind the Mother Nature. I think it was well acted by Tim. This was the thing that they did at the iPhone event. It was just in a weird place. It felt like filler, I'm afraid. It's very important what they're doing. I'm glad they're raising the kind of the awareness of this stuff. But it was just such a strange place to put it in that event. I don't know if you're taking one with this, James, or not. But if it is a rumor, I hope it's not true. The Apple Stream says don't do this to me. Maybe that's wherever you're based. Maybe that's the case. But here it's midnight. It's definitely going to happen at midnight. Has to. Yeah, Tony is saying 11:59. Good. We're still going, guys. That number hasn't dropped. People are still watching. I'm just amazed. Thank you. Anthony would buy my old iMac for his mum. There you go. Keep an eye on my Instagram feed in that case because it'll probably be listed on there. People are saying it'll probably just be MacBooks. Wow, guys. No, you hang up. 1 hour, 26 minutes. I thought this would be an hour. I thought people would get bored by 50 minutes probably and disappear, or we'd run out of questions, but that's not happening at all. It's really not happening. What's your favorite scary movie? Let's have some interesting. Let's go off the topic of Apple. Ask me anything. Let's do that. Let's stay on. I can stay on, guys, until 22. So here, so another 15 minutes. Ask me anything that isn't Apple related. I will answer, I promise. So what is my favorite scary movie? I think one of the scariest films I've ever seen. It's a toss-up. I have to pick one, don't I? It's Aliens, as in the second Alien film. There's something petrifying about it. All it is, it's the kind of, I can't think what they call it, but it's that device they have with the circle on it and the beeping thing, and you can see what's coming towards you, and there's nothing. It's just beeping away, and it beeps, and a little white dot appears, and you know it's an alien, and it gets close. That and everything about it is just brilliant. So yeah, that's my favorite scary movie. I'm still waving. So many people are giving me money. Alan, that's lovely. Thank you. And Stevens 288. Thank you. I should do these live streams more often. Maybe I should. Thank you for your generosity, guys. It's lovely of you. Another one. Thank you. Some more people coming from the live from the USA, from Mexico. Enjoyed the F1, by the way. I don't know if you're a F1 fan or said Checo fan. But yeah, it was real. I felt really sorry for him at the weekend. Barcelona, Florida. Oh, I'm so jealous. Right. Right, I'm trying to find. I'm still got Trinidad. So many different places. Um, Will is saying what TV is in the background. So this is I reviewed this actually. This is the Hisense U8K, which is a 65-inch. Yeah, brilliant TV. I reviewed it. Check out the review if you haven't watched it yet. It's not OLED. It is mini LED. It's brilliant though. For the money, I think it's fantastic. I'm trying to get to the bit where people may be asking me questions. Here we go. Alan, what's your favorite film of all time? This is such a difficult question. I don't know if other people struggle with this, but I'm a massive movie fan, and because of that, I think the more of a fan you are of movies, the harder it is to answer this question. I've got so many favorite movies. I've got to pick one now, haven't I? This is on public record now. Oh God, what do I pick? What do I pick as my favorite movie of all time? I'm gonna say it. It's Back to the Future, which I know is not a bit like why isn't it The Godfather Part 2 or whatever. I just love Back to the Future. It means so much to me as a kid, and it's always there. I think your favorite movie is always there for some reason. You think about it quite a bit, or things happen in real life, and you think that reminds me of that film. For some reason, Back to the Future has always stayed with me. Yeah, there you go. Where we go. Are you well? Here you go. Are you a Star Wars fan? Massive, huge. I mean, that was on my mind then, thinking I've got to say Star Wars. I've got to say Star Wars. But no, Back to the Future is still my favorite film. But huge Star Wars fan, Greg. Yeah, massive. You are a long-term viewer, so thank you for tuning in. I do recognise a lot of your names here. Event Horizon's a great film. What's your favorite takeaway? What is my favorite? I'm so indecisive with this stuff. I think if I had to pick something, if it was my last meal and all that stuff, the older I've got for some reason I've got more and more into really dirty burgers. Like I say dirty, they're just like greasy and really bad for you, but really nice, really good meat. Just full of lovely things. If I had to pick a takeaway as my last meal, it would be the dirtiest of dirty burgers, loaded fries, and a milkshake. Which again doesn't sound great, does it? But that would be it. Second to that is an Indian takeaway. I love my Indian food. I won't go anymore. There's loads. Oh God, any more questions? Dune. People like Dune. I've never seen Dune. Sorry. Right. What's your favorite album or top 5? I'll do my favorite album because we'll be here all night for trying to work out my top 5. It's Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, and I know it's an obvious one. These all sound obvious, but I don't care. I honestly don't care. I love Dark Side of the Moon, and I fell in love with it when I first saw them when they did the 1994 Division Bell tour. When they did that in its entirety, I watched that as a kid and just fell in love with it. That's why. So, there you go. Do you have any hardware synths? If so, what is your favorite? These days, no. My dad had some fantastic synths in the past. He had a Prophet 5 and all sorts of things that he sold, and because back then they didn't think how collectible they would become. My own stuff, I had a Korg Triton in the late 90s, mid 90s. Triton, which was, if you know anything about your music tech and stuff, it was used in every pop and hip hop record around that time. I saved up for it like a madman and got it and loved it, and then sold it when I got into my 20s. I miss it actually, but no, I don't have it now. Lots of people saying Dune, stuff. Jingle All the Way for me. That's a hell of a call. Mark, do you want to ride in my DeLorean? Yes, please. Apple Store is down. Apparently, Apple Store is down, guys. Public service announcement: the Apple Store is down. We have less than half an hour to go. Anthony, do you buy vinyl CDs or just stream? I stream mostly, but I do buy vinyl. Slight problem at the minute is that someone in our house cleaned the shelf that the record player's on, and the needle is no longer on the record player. It's just gone, just disappeared. Not blaming anyone, obviously, but it's not there anymore, so I can't play my vinyl at the moment. Tim, his favourite band is Queen. Love a bit of Queen. Louise, what is your favourite Christmas film? It's not Die. I love Die Hard. I know there's a big debate about whether Die Hard is a big Christmas film or not. What is my favourite Christmas film? It's Home Alone. I don't care. It's Home Alone. Love it. Love it. Who was your favourite Big Bang Theory TV show character? Don't watch it. I've never watched a full episode. I've only ever seen bits of it. Sorry. I'm one of the very few people who have. Where are we? Home Alone. Someone else said Home Alone. Fantastic. Simon, hello. That's a blast from the past. How you doing, mate? Thank you for jumping on. Nick, will you buy will you buy it if the Apple car is the shape of Starbug? Obviously, Nick. Why would? Yes. So anyone, I'm not going to say what that refers to. You must know. If you know, you know what Nick's referring to there. Probably my favourite TV show of all time. Stevens288, thank you. That's lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you. That will help. I will put that money towards stuff that Tim forces me to buy later. Any other questions? Jan says, of course, Die Hard is a Christmas film. It is. It 100% is, and it's very festive, obviously. Louise, has Rob convinced you to buy a Meta Quest 3 yet? So if you listen to the 8 or 16 podcast, you may be aware that Rob is really telling me, he's basically forcing me, there's no two ways about it, to buy a Meta Quest 3, the VR thing. Not yet, but I think I will. That's partly the reason I've got this set up here. That's kind of designed for that sort of stuff. So it's probably an inevitability. Wow, guys, we're nearly there, aren't we? I think questions are starting to dry up. Have I ever sideloaded apps onto iOS? No, I can't be bothered. I'll be completely honest. I just haven't got the time for it. I think if you do it, great. It's a nice little thing to do. It'll sound really patronising, didn't it? Didn't mean that. It's late, guys. Sorry. I haven't though. I've never tried it. Maybe I should. Perhaps I should just get over myself and do it. Any other non-Apple questions? We've got another. I'm going to stay on for another 4 minutes, guys. Premier League team. So I'm a big football fan. Used to play a lot of football as well until I got old and couldn't run anymore. I've never supported a Premier League team, ever. I've only ever supported Northampton Town, which is where I'm from. I once, for some reason, as a kid, I think I was a kind of, I don't know, 14, 15 or something. I remember watching Arsenal on Match of the Day or something and suddenly just thinking, I might become an Arsenal fan. But no basis around that at all. Not from London. Don't know anyone from London when I was that age. I didn't become an Arsenal fan, but I was on the cusp of doing it, just almost there. Are we prepped in the UK? We're pathetic in this country. I'm sorry. I can say that because I'm from here. We moan about a bit of wind, and it does cause some havoc and some terrible things happen. But when you see the real things that happen with proper weather elsewhere in the world, we don't know we're born in this country, and so we should be prepped for it. Absolutely. What is your favorite animal? Dog, 100%. Preferably not a common one. Oh, you would say that was dogs are common. Dogs are very common, aren't they? What's my favorite animal? Love penguins. I really love penguins. I think they're brilliant. They're just brilliant. There's no reason why they're brilliant. They just are brilliant. If you see a penguin, you just think you're brilliant. Look at you flapping around and falling over, but being really confident and cool about it. I love the way also, always remember this. I'm going to go over this over my time. I always remember watching an episode of Planet Earth where, in talking of extreme weather, somewhere in the Arctic or something, penguins kind of get in a massive huddle, a great big circle. And the ones on the outside who are like shivering, because they're on the outside, they swap. So the ones that are further in come out, and the ones that are on the outside go in. I just remember watching that and thinking, why aren't more humans as lovely as that? Why don't we all look after each other better? Saka. I went to the Emirates. Thank you to Google Pixel for taking me there. Actually, they gave me some tickets, which was lovely. And I went there with my brother-in-law, and first time I'd seen a Premier League game for many, 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 many years, and Saka is amazing. And he was injured, mate. He was injured for most of the game and came off after about 60 or 70 minutes, and he was still amazing. I can't remember. I just remember watching him thinking, "Oh, okay, this is the difference between League Two football and Premier League football." But yeah, amazing player. Charlie, that's ridiculously generous of you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. That's lovely. I don't know what to say to that. It's just a lovely gesture. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Makes it all worth it. Am I a fan of energy drinks? I need to be. I'm not. I don't drink energy drinks. Like, they scare me a little bit because of the sugar content. I've had Red Bulls here and there, but I've never had those cans of, like, Monster and stuff. They scare me to death. I don't know what would happen if I had one. Not a fan of these late night events. I'm not either, Jacob. The closer this is getting, the more I'm thinking I just want to go to bed. I'd just rather stay on here, to be honest. Maybe I should. Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew. Yeah, whenever I've been to America, I've always got my Mountain Dew in. This is a question, is it? Sorry, Coke, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper? Is it Pepsi Max? Can I say Pepsi Max? I prefer Pepsi Max over all those. Coke, out of those three. Do you like Steve Jobs? What's your thoughts? What an interesting question. I think he was a very complicated character. I've read all the books about him. I find him absolutely fascinating. I think he was a genius. I think he was a marketing genius. I think he passed off a lot of ideas as his own, but then most of the kind of smartest business people do that, like it or not. We wouldn't have what we have now without him, I suppose. I wouldn't be sat here, really. So I'm fairly conscious of that. I don't think I'd be sat here anyway. But I would not have wanted to work for him. He just did some horrendous things and some unintentionally funny things. I remember that I read the book about, I can't remember the exact thing that happened, but it was something like some guy had spent months and months working on some new code for something. And Steve Jobs came into the office and got wind of the fact this guy was doing it. And this guy was typing away, coding really hard, throwing everything into it, late nights, being away from his family. And I think his boss said to Steve, this is what this guy's doing. And Steve was like, no, he's not. His boss was like, he is. He's got to finish. He's been working on this for months. It's going to be great. And Steve Jobs just went up to the Mac and just took out the power, lost everything, gone. I always remember that story. But there's been some even worse stories than that about him. But he was a genius, wasn't he? And I don't know. Yeah, fascinating guy. Absolutely fascinating guy. If that's aircon behind you, I'm saying it is aircon. Yeah, which I do use. I mean, it chucks out warm air as well if I need it. Where are we? Oh, gone over. I'm 1 minute over, guys. I need 5 minutes, and I need to go because I need to start watching this event. Well, get ready for this event. I need to put a coffee on actually and have some sugar. What's your favourite walk route? That's interesting. Anywhere in the Lake District. I suppose if I had to pick one, the Old Man Coniston. That featured in the Apple Watch Ultra video, one of the Apple Watch Ultra videos earlier this year. The Old Man at Coniston. It was the Garmin video, I think. No, it wasn't. There wasn't a Garmin video. It was the Apple Watch Ultra video. When I went to the lakes, I did the Old Man at Coniston walk. Yeah, big fan of it. Crikey. Do you have a favourite pair of shoes? No, I don't really. Do I have no, I don't have it. I'm afraid I don't. Right. 3 minutes, guys. I'm only taking non-Apple questions now for the next 3 minutes. Have you ever thought about doing more live streams? Possibly. I think I will. I've enjoyed this. This is a long one. I'm amazed by how many people have stayed on. You're all wonderful. Yeah, I think I should. I just need to think about when I do them and what they're about, really. These are obvious ones to do because of the event. Go on, 2 minutes. Ask me anything. Favorite pair of headphones? It's still the Sony XM4s, which are over there. I don't really use them these days because I have so many different. I'm always testing a new pair of headphones. So again, I'm not a normal consumer in that respect. But I would if I was a normal consumer, I wasn't doing this for a living. I would still be using those XM4s, hands down. Great sound, great noise cancelling, comfortable, brilliant case, etc. I think they're a classic, absolute classic. And there's nothing really that beats them in that regard, I don't think. Yeah, still my favourite pair of headphones. What was your favourite kids' TV programme growing up? What was my favourite kids' TV programme growing up? I had loads. I can't say that. I need to say, oh God, my favourite kids' TV programme. I'm going to pick a really random one here. It just came to mind for some reason. As a kid, and I think you go through stages as a kid liking new things. I loved Bertha. If you know what Bertha is, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. I used to love that. 1 more minute. Let's have a look. Trapdoor, Rob. Yes. Brilliant program. Nelson, do you use a Panasonic or Sony or Canon? Used to be a Canon man for many, many years. I'm now exclusively Sony. Love it. God. One more question. I'm going to take one more question. One more question. Come on. Who's going to ask me anything? Oh, God. This is going to be so hard. Why have I picked this one? What's your all-time favourite car? Classic or modern? Oh, no. What's my all-time favourite car? Why have I picked this one? This is the hardest one to answer. I'm going to pick. I don't. Is this a cop out? No, it's not a cop out at all. I'm going to pick my current car, which is a BMW M2, and it's the original M2. It's not the competition. It's definitely not the new one. And it's just the most incredible thing I've ever driven in my entire life. And it's the thing that I worry about it all the time. I don't use it enough. It costs me loads of money. But it's such an amazing car to drive. It's the quickest car I've ever had. It's the most driver-focused car I've ever had. And when you get an M car of your own, you realise what the fuss is about, and you can't really explain that until you drive one. Martin says the original Audi Quattro. That's a great shout. But I'm just going to pick mine because great. Guys, I've got to finish there because I've got 15 minutes, well, 14 minutes actually, before the event starts. So thank you so much for getting involved and coming on. I can't believe it's been well over 200 people for the entire thing, pretty much. I've loved this. I've really enjoyed this, and hopefully it was interesting. And thank you so much to all of you, particularly those who have given super thanks and stuff like that, and stickers and stuff. It's just overwhelmingly lovely of you. Thank you. And yeah, I'm going to go and make a coffee, have some chocolate, and then plonk myself down there, watch the event, and then come up with some content for the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. Who knows, depending on what they do. So enjoy the Apple event if you're going to watch it. If you're not going to watch it, just watch my video tomorrow. I'll talk about hopefully the most interesting thing. Right, guys, I'm going to end the stream now. Thank you so much for being amazing. If you haven't subscribed and you enjoyed this, give the channel a subscribe and give me a thumbs up because it helps massively, more than you realize. And yeah, I will see you on the next live stream, whenever that is. Cheers, guys. Thank you.